All right, what's up, everybody? Brian here, and this is my WWE Monday Night Raw review for last Monday's episode. I'm going to give my thoughts on what took place. So let's start off. There were three good matches on this week's episode of Raw that really stood out to me. Of course, last Monday's Raw was the go-home show before this Sunday's Backlash co-branded event for Raw and SmackDown, but last Monday's Raw was Raw's go-home show before Backlash this Sunday. A lot of questions going into this past Monday's Raw as far as what happened this past last Friday at the Greatest Royal Rumble event in Saudi Arabia, where there was controversy in the Universal Championship Steel Cage match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. The opening segment was Roman Reigns, who talked about last Friday's controversy where he speared Brock Lesnar through one of the side panels of the steel cage, and the referee basically called the match for Brock Lesnar, that Lesnar won, even though when they showed the footage, it clearly showed Reigns' feet touch the floor first. In a steel cage match, the rules are you can win by pinfall, submission, or escaping the cage with both feet touching the floor. So Reigns came out, cut a promo about what happened, saying he's the rightful Universal Champion. But now he turns his attention to Samoa Joe, who he'll be taking on at Backlash this Sunday. Samoa Joe would appear on the Titantron, saying that at Backlash he's going to put down Reigns once and for all. All this, and that would be it. Then Jinder Mahal would interrupt. He would come out basically saying he wanted to fight Roman Reigns. Of course, last Monday's Raw was held in Montreal, and who would come out? None other than the hometown favorites. Sami Zayn would come out first, saying he wants to face Roman Reigns. Then Kevin Owens would come out and say he wants to fight Roman Reigns. This would lead to all four of them, even counting Sunil Singh. They went after Roman Reigns. Then Lashley would come out and try to help out. And then Braun Strowman, who won the Greatest Royal Rumble match, breaking Roman Reigns' record in that matchup with 13 eliminations, he would come out and basically they would just clean house. This would lead to a six-man tag match that would happen later on in the night. Good opening segment for Raw. In my opinion, Owens and Zayn, when they came out, the crowd went nuts from watching it on television. So, of course, it was in Montreal. Both of them live near Montreal, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So, they were favorites on last Monday's Raw. The opening match was Elias taking on Bobby Roode. This came about because of what happened last week when Elias stole the victory from Bobby Roode in their one-on-one match last week. This one ended via referee stoppage. Elias won because in the match, Elias kicked Bobby Roode in the throat, and that kind of cost Bobby Roode a little bit in this matchup. And near the end of the match, Elias would wind up with Bobby Roode on the ring apron. He would throw Bobby Roode into the exposed steel bar on the corner of the ring, and that's basically throat first, and that's basically what had Elias winning this match via a stoppage. So it was an okay match, in my opinion. Hopefully, with the performance that Elias did in the Greatest Royal Rumble match, plus his 2 victories for Bobby Roode, hopefully there are some big things coming for Elias. I'm a real big fan of his. I think he's a great in-ring competitor, and hopefully big things come for Elias in the near future. Let's see what else. We had the Authors of Pain defeating a team from Montreal, Jean-Paul and I don't want to butcher the guy's name, Francois. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. Authors of Pain just basically beat these 2 guys down. Nothing really spectacular here. And basically they made a statement, the Authors of Pain did, with this win, basically sending a message to all the tag teams on Raw. What else? We had what was a fantastic matchup between 2 of the women. It was Ruby Riott representing the Riott Squad. Of course, Ruby had Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan in her corner. She took on Sasha Banks. This one was a fantastic matchup. This was one of the matches that I would recommend checking out. Both women, hard-fought match, but the numbers game got to Sasha, and she lost to Ruby Riott on Raw last Monday. And and what was a fantastic matchup. Hopefully they do something with the Riott Squad, especially Ruby Riott, because she is a great in-ring competitor, and we saw how close she got on SmackDown to becoming the SmackDown Women's Champion when she took on Charlotte. But now that her, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan are on Raw now, hopefully some big things happen for them as well. We had that 6-man tag team match with Reigns, Strowman, and Lashley taking on Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. This one was another fantastic matchup. I thought that this 6-man tag team match was really delivered. The crowd, from the reaction they had during the match, watching it on television, they were into this matchup. Strowman scored the win for his team, hitting the running power slam on Kevin Owens after countering the cannonball, which got the crowd really riled up. They thought that they were really wanting Kevin Owens to hit that cannonball, but then Strowman stood up and grabbed Owens and hit him with the running power slam. So that was a big victory for Strowman, Reigns, and Lashley. It was then announced that at Backlash on Sunday, it is going to be a rematch from what we saw, I believe, last week with Strowman and Lashley teaming up to take on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So that is another huge match for Backlash this Sunday as far as the Raw side of things is concerned. We had another blissful moment of bliss segment with Alexa Bliss talking about Nia Jax being a bully. This time she discussed how her and Nia went to Disney World, and one time, and Nia was making fun of Alexa for asking whether or not she's tall enough to ride the rides and stuff like that. And then they went to lunch, and she told the waiter about giving Alexa a kids menu. basically, this is adding to this whole storyline of Alexa thinking that Nia Jax is a bully, all this stuff, heading into their Raw Women's title match where Nia defends against Alexa Bliss. I thought this segment, as well as the segment from last week, really gives, heat to Alexa, as far as this whole bullying storyline, that she thinks that Nia is a bully and all that stuff. I think it's a good way of adding more depth to the storyline as far as the match is concerned coming up on Sunday. We had No Way Jose defeating Baron Corbin after a distraction from Titus O'Neil, who, if for anybody that watched the Greatest Royal Rumble event, especially the Royal Rumble match, Titus, when he was making his way to the ring, he slipped, and when he fell, he landed underneath the ring, went under the ring when he fell. This time, he caused a distraction by getting up on the ring apron and slipping on the ring apron, which turned out to be nothing more than a ploy to distract Baron Corbin, and that allowed No Way Jose to score the win. I could see Baron Corbin getting his revenge on Titus O'Neil in the coming weeks, maybe next week or whatever, or the following week. We had Natalya, who had Ronda Rousey in her corner, taking on Mickie James, who had Alexa Bliss in her corner. This one came about because of what happened last week in that, I believe it was last week or the week before, in that 10-woman tag team match, where Mickie James attacked Natalya, who was injured in during the match. That would bring out Ronda Rousey. She would go after Ronda Rousey, and Ronda would lock in that arm bar to Mickie James. So that's how this whole match came about. Natalya scored the win with a roll-up after Alexa Bliss got chased away by Ronda Rousey for getting involved. So Natalya picked up the win in that match. Afterwards, Nia Jax would come out, and she and Alexa Bliss would run through the crowd, and that was pretty much it for that segment. It ended with Nia Jax raising both Ronda Rousey and Natalya's hand. So that was pretty much it. And then the main event was for the Intercontinental Championship. It was Seth Rollins who retained the championship at the Greatest Royal Rumble event in that Fatal 4-Way ladder match, and also is scheduled to face The Miz and defend that Intercontinental title against The Miz Sunday at Backlash. He defended it against Finn Balor. This was another incredible matchup between two, in my opinion, two of the best right now in WWE. Balor and Rollins really tore the house down, move after move, counter after counter. But in the end, it was Seth Rollins with the curb stomp that finally put down Finn Balor and retained the Intercontinental Championship. And now he heads to Backlash to defend that IC title against The Miz on Sunday. And the Balor-Rollins match is another match that I would recommend checking out if you did not watch Raw last Monday. So, overall, to wrap up this video, my thoughts on last Monday's Raw. Thought it was an okay show. I thought the main event was awesome. Not a lot of hype towards for Backlash on Sunday, like I thought there would be, but there was just enough. But I thought it was an okay show. If you guys watched last Monday's Raw, let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below. So with that being said, this has been my review of some of the things that took place on last Monday's episode of Monday Night Raw. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.